terms of earnings growth going forward. Tell me a little bit about why now, in your view, this is the spot to be in.
Well, see, what's interesting is frontier markets did very well from 2002 to 2007, along with larger emerging markets and developed markets. And in 2008, they all went down. And frontier markets, by and large, did not come back. So while emerging markets, larger emerging markets and developed markets have done well, with the S&P close to an all-time high, with large emerging markets also within 10 or 15% of their all-time high, frontier markets as a group are still down over 50% from where they were 5 years ago. And so the valuations are very, very inexpensive in a lot of those markets.
But they're risky.
Well, they are risky individually. But what's interesting is you really have to think of it as a group. So think of frontier markets as one company. Think of one company that's invested in 40 different countries, in a dozen different industries, and then your risk goes down a lot. And that company, which is basically an amalgamation of 70 or 80 different companies in over 40 countries that we invest in, that company, call it Frontier Markets Inc. if you want, that company you can buy it at 9 times earnings, yet is growing close to 20% per year. So if it was a GE, for example, you would say, wow, this is amazing. You have this conglomerate and it's so cheap, yet it's growing so fast.
Now, you like both equity and debt, depending on the situation.
Yes.
Where are you finding better opportunities right now, or is it really country and area specific?
Well, it depends what you call better.
Ones that will make you money, which is what you said in the panel.
If you compare it within fixed income, then frontier market fixed income, with yields of over 8% still, is very compelling compared to larger emerging markets, which have seen a very, very strong yield compression, and of course to developed markets that are yielding next to nothing these days. And the same within equities. You know, I told you about the valuations. Clearly, frontier markets are growing faster and are cheaper than their larger cousins in emerging markets or than developed markets. So within each asset class, you find better opportunities in frontier markets than in other markets. That said, we really look country by country. And in certain countries, the debt is much more attractive than the equity. Ghana, for example, that we discussed earlier, you can buy a 3-year government T-bills, if you want, at 16% yields. So that's much more attractive than equities. Conversely, in many countries, yields have already started to come down, and so the opportunity is more on the equity side.